So I want to welcome everyone. It's good to see you all back here. I think we almost have everyone that was here yesterday. And the new one, I think we're just missing maybe about 2 or so from yesterday. And hopefully they'll be able to make it as well. But let's, I hope everyone had a good day. And I hope you have with you your recipes from yesterday. If not, we can... If you forgot your recipes and you'd like to have them, raise your hand. And if you need a song sheet, raise your hand. And the registration table, everyone's got everything. Good students, all right. Well, let's start with the word of prayer, and we'll just jump right into everything. And great, good. You made it.
A little persuasion.
You did it. All right, let's pray. Father in heaven, I want to thank you for bringing us back together again. I thank you for the safe trip everyone was able to have. And we invite your presence to be with us. Father, I pray that you'd help me to speak in a way that's clear and easy to understand, and that you'd help my dear friends to be able to know how to apply the information to their own personal needs, and for others that they have connections with, family and friends. And for those who are on their way, I pray for safety, and for those who need to be here, I pray you impress their hearts to come. And I thank you and pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Well, it's good to have all of you here with us, and I'm just going to review some things from yesterday. Our next seminar is going to be Wednesday night at 6:30. I'm saying 6:30, so we'll start at 6:45. It will work that way. So that's for tomorrow, not tomorrow, Wednesday. That will be the next time we meet. And again, if you have not filled in your name for the door prize, please make sure we get your name in there. We have 2 prizes for tonight. And if you have any questions about what we're talking about or another health-related question, you're welcome to put it in our question and answer box. I prefer that in a way because it gives me time to think, to give a good answer, and because we have so much in the program, it helps with time to have questions in the question and answer box. And when we're done, you're always welcome to come and speak to me. And then, I think everyone's familiar with the church. You all know where the bathroom and water is? Yeah? Okay. Great. Well then, that leads us to our theme song. Now, Roland, what's neat about our theme song is it's set to the tune of Jingle Bells. Cam, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
So this is your first night too. This is our theme song that encapsulates a healthy lifestyle. Basically, God's plan. And what's neat about it is it's a tune that you all know. So we can sing it through the first time, and you already know it. So you ready? Help sing with me, because I make a joyful noise. I need all the help I can get. Ready? If you want good health, nature's laws obey, all her precepts heed, never from her stray, harmful habits shun, do not push yourself, when too tired or you may find 'twill put you on the shelf. Oh, health for you, health for me, health for all mankind, healing for the halt and lame and vision for the blind, health for you, health for me, health for all mankind. This our goal of body, whole in spirit, flesh, and mind. Take some time to play, stand straight, breathe in deep, work while it is day, always get your sleep, eat just what you need, never more or less. Moderation is the guide to health and happiness. Oh, health for you, health for me, health for all mankind. Vision for the halt and lame and vision for the blind. Health for you, health for me, health for all mankind. This our goal, our body, whole in spirit, flesh, and mind. Water is your friend, used within, without, cleanses, smooths, and heals, puts the germs to rouse, rest repairs the rest, stress of living brings, loosens heart and ragged nerves, and gives the spirit wings. Oh, health for you, health for me, health for all mankind, healing for our halt and lame, and vision for the blind. Health for you, health for me, health for all mankind. This our goal, our body whole in spirit, flesh, and mind. Sunshine and fresh air, clean and wholesome food, proper exercise, thoughts upright and good, keeps the cheeks aglow, bodies fit and strong, keep the brain alert and clean, and give the heart a song. Oh, health for you, health for me, health for all mankind, healing for the halt and lame, and vision for the blind. Health for you, health for me, health for all mankind. This our goal, our body whole in spirit, flesh, and mind. Wonderful, you guys all sound good. Very good. All right, so we're going to do a little review from last night, so those who weren't here can catch up. And for us, repetition deepens the impression. So for those of you who are here, I'm going to use your help to review. Yesterday we looked at places around the world where there is a concentration of people that have lived for a long time, centenarians. People who've reached age 100 and greater. And here on the map we have these 6 regions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I have 5 there. Okay, I guess there was 5. I was thinking there was 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Nevertheless, we had a focus on Loma Linda, California, where the Seventh-day Adventists concentration of centenarians live. And you remember, we looked at 9 common factors that all these places had that they have found that has been helpful in their longevity. Now comes the quiz time. For those of you who were here yesterday, what were some of those 9 lifestyle habits?
Moving naturally.
Moving naturally, very good. What else?
Purpose.
Purpose. You know they say that A students sit in the front. Very good. Okay, moving naturally, purpose? Yep.
Belonging to a faith-based community.
Belonging to a faith-based community, very good. We've got 3. What else was there?
Healthy food.
Healthy food. Plant-based diet, 95 to 100%. Try to do. Very good. All right, I think that's 4 of them. What else do we have? Yes.
Only being full 80%.
Yes. So that moderation, temperance, not overeating. Joe, did you have your hand up?
Always in motion.
Okay, yes, that always in motion. Yep. That exercise, constant. Not so much a sedentary lifestyle. You can use the chart to help your family. Yes, very important. Family connections. Let's see. The downshift. Do you remember what
Yes.
downshift had to do
Prayer
with?
and rest.
Yeah. Looking
To
for ways to
relieve
deal
stress.
with stress.
Yep.
That's what we're looking, because you're going to have stress in life. No matter where you are, who you are, it's about how you deal with the stress. And as they mentioned, the Seventh-day Adventists, the way they deal with it is prayer. I like that. There was a people group, they dealt with it by having happy hour drinking. That's an option. But other things, you have side effects of this. The Greeks, I believe, it was either the Greeks or those in Costa Rica, sleep, having a nap, a rest in there. I like that too, personally. But something dealing with stress is important. Okay, purpose, right tribe. Oh, right tribe. What was right tribe all about? Do you remember?
Social time.
Yeah, your social time and having people around you that's going to encourage you in a good lifestyle. So you know they had talked about how being smoking, drinking, obesity can be contagious, meaning that it's possible to gravitate around people who do these things that aren't the healthiest. So looking for a social group who have the same goals with a healthy lifestyle is good to do. So right tribe, we talked about the food, faith-based, move naturally. All right, you got it. Good job, class. Now, next question. Can anyone tell me what BDNF is?
Protein brain fertilizer.
Yes, it is a protein that acts like a brain fertilizer. So what are some of those benefits of this brain fertilizer? What can this protein do? Help your body with?
Exercise.
Okay, that's how you increase it.
Oh.
But what's the benefit of BDNF, this brain-derived neurotrophic factor? Here's a clue. It's going to help your brain adapt and learn, improves all forms of plasticity. Here we go. It will help prevent Alzheimer's, degenerative diseases it was talking about, even like with Parkinson's disease. Also, it helps prevent depression, something we want to take advantage of. Help with memory and learning. Ika?
What about water?
Yes, water is very good. Yep, we just sang about it. Ways that we can increase the BDNF: physical exercise, intellectual activity, those face-to-face social relations, sunlight, reducing our stress, and getting at least 7 hours of sleep at night. All that will help increase our BDNF. Do you all remember there was something else that helps increase the BDNF?
Was it intermittent fasting?
Yes, good job.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the fasting. Now, can someone explain to me what intermittent fasting is? That sounds like
If you
lunch.
have lunch at 3 o'clock
Yeah,
and you don't eat until the next morning.
yeah. You could have 12 to 17 hours in between, and you're giving your gut a rest, which is very good. Tika, were you going to add to that, or does that sound good? You got anything to add?
I was going to say it's like when you're not snacking, or just like letting your body relax and digest the food.
Very good. So you're not snacking throughout the day or eating a bunch of small meals. You're just eating either 2 or 3 meals with a break in between, and then you're allowing your body to rest. You can get this intermittent fast, and we'll talk more about this later on in our second lecture tonight. Even if you have your last meal at, say, 6 o'clock in the evening, and then you don't have breakfast again until 6 in the morning or 7, you got at least 12, 13 hours. So very good. And again, this intermittent fast, it will help increase this BDNF that we all want. And then finally, yesterday we talked about, we have wonderful resources like the National Geographic, all kinds of great information out there that is showing the benefits of a healthy lifestyle. And the reality is, all of this instruction, all of these wonderful tips can be found in the Bible. The Bible talks about it. It's been around for a long time. I love this acronym, Basic Instruction Before Leaving Earth. And so in our time together, we're going to be looking at God's healthcare plan that really, truly works. We just sung about it. And here's a way you can remember these laws of health: godly trust, open air, daily exercise, sunshine, proper rest, lots of water, always temperate, good nutrition. Again, this is just echoing what is talking about that power of 9 with the blue zones, and also echoing what we were just talking about, how to increase that BDNF. It's all in God's Word. So now what we're going to focus in tonight is we're going to now dig deeper into good nutrition. Looking at the blue zone foods for longevity, okay? And that's what we're going to deal with in the first lecture. And then in the second lecture, we're going to be looking at principles of good digestion. So what we're going to start off with is 4 simple guidelines. 4 always, I'm going to call it. Well, actually, I didn't invent this. I got it from my $15 National Geographic magazine, so I'm saving you all the money and the time. I've read it, I bought it, and now I am sharing exactly what they said, word for word. So 4 ORIs is what's suggested. First, basic 100% whole wheat bread. Now, if you are gluten intolerant, the principle is getting your whole grains in, not refined. When you refine grains, you lose wonderful vitamins and minerals that your bodies need. So, whole grains we're looking at. Most people, though, can do the wheat. A handful of nuts a day. And we're going to be seeing, and you saw yesterday, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to just eat a handful of nuts. Your nuts can be found in your granola, it can be found in your cheese sauce, it can be found in your salad dressing, it can be found in your veggie burgers. There's wonderful ways to get those nuts in. And the legumes as well, either dried or canned. We're going to be making veggie burgers tonight that's using chickpeas. So again, you don't necessarily have to be eating the bean as just plain beans. You have a waffle recipe that uses chickpeas in it. You can eat hummus. There's different ways to get these beans in, which is great. Dried or canned, and what's wonderful about beans is they're very affordable. Fruit. Keep a bowl of fruit in your kitchen. You always want to make sure you get enough fruit. And being in Massachusetts, we're an apple country. And we've been told that if all you can get is apples for fruit, that's okay. There's enough nutrition in apples for what you need. Okay, now, these are 4 always. Now we're going to look at 4 to avoid. We are avoiding sugar-sweetened beverages, and I would even add to that artificially sweetened beverages. My brother is a scientist, and for the artificial sweeteners, he calls that liquid cancer. So what's the best beverage to drink?
Water.
Water, what God made. It's the best. You can't go wrong with water. Okay, so you want to watch out for salty snacks, too much salt and preservatives, and then processed meats linked to cancer and heart disease, and then packaged sweets, cookies, candies, have that banned from your pantry. So those are the 4 we're always going to avoid. And I want to say, some of you are doing great, taking diligent notes. I have no problem sharing my presentation. If you all have thumb drives and would like to get a copy of my presentations, you're welcome to that. Or if you want to get the magazine, you can do that too. But I like seeing the note-taking. That means information is going to get in your mind well. That's great. Now, again, trying to aim for 95 to 100% of your diet being plant-based. Now, for some of you, you're already there, and that's great. For others of you, you're not there yet. The key is eating less meat, more veggies. More fruits and vegetables, less dairy, less eggs, and you'll be doing better. And just start progressing towards this goal step by step. I have a good friend. When she wanted to cut back on dairy products, she had 3 small children and a husband, and they weren't quite ready to do what she was ready. You can relate. And it's not worth causing a big family feud over. So what she was very wise about things was she put the dairy milk in a glass container and then would add a little bit of non-dairy milk to it. And then slowly the ratio was changing to the point where they were drinking 100% non-dairy milk, and it just eased right in and everyone stayed happy. So there's ways you can do that. Or starting off with saying, okay, we're going to have a meatless Monday. And then gradually incorporate more days. Go as fast as your family is able to keep up with you. That's what I would recommend. Joe, you got your hand up?
In Massachusetts, they used to have Prince Spaghetti Day.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Was it Wednesday was Spaghetti Day or something like that? Yeah. So you could do like Meatless Mondays. Okay. Other ways you can try to reach this goal is keep favorite fruits and vegetables on hand. If you don't have access to fresh or affordable veggies, frozen vegetables are just fine. Use olive oil like butter. Instead of using butter, you could replace it with olive oil, drizzle over steamed or boiled vegetables. Stock up on whole grains like we spoke about earlier, your oats, barley, brown rice, millet, quinoa, ground corn, buckwheat. There's so much out there, so much good nutrition. I like to do this, use leftover veggies to make vegetable soup. I was saying to the ladies yesterday at my table that generally towards the end of the week I'm eating soup because I'm throwing my leftovers in it and it works great. Today we're going to be looking at 2 soups in our cooking class. So another principle along this lines is retreating from meat. Avoid meat if you can. And ways we can do this is avoiding bringing beef, hot dogs, luncheon meats, or sausages into your house. It's those processed meats you really need to watch out for. If you must eat meat, designate only special occasions when you do so. Like for my father and I, we live together in our home. He'll eat meat once in a while when we go out to eat. And we probably go out to eat once or twice a week. But I tell him it's dangerous for me to cook meat. I don't know how to. And you could get sick. So we don't have it in the house. So it's just when we go out to eat. That's when he may have something. Choose restaurants that offer delicious plant-based offerings. Often these ethnic restaurants, you can find great options. Thai, Indian, Mexican, almost always have. And even today, going to Olive Garden, so many of the restaurants are having options. I love eating at the Cheesecake Factory as a vegan. They have a really neat appetizer, which is like a main dish to me, that's lettuce wraps. That has all kinds of neat options that you can put in these wraps and sauces, Vinny.
Olive Garden. I called a few months ago because I was invited to go there.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the menu online.
Yeah.
And they got rid of like the pasta primavera, the pasta with the vegetables. And so I called and I'm like, you got rid of your vegetables or something? He goes, well, because of COVID, we had to reduce our menu. Yeah, but it looks like you've reduced the healthy stuff to keep you from getting COVID.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Good point, Vinny. My fallback at Olive Garden is the minestrone soup and salad, all you could want. You know, that's what I do. Yes, Ethan.
What about we cook at home?
That's ideal.
Because Dr. Ross told years ago, hey, ladies, try to cook home. Don't go to
Yeah,
restaurant.
no, it's definitely ideal to cook
Just
at home.
occasionally.
Yeah, it's as a treat. That's definitely ideal. If you can do it, go for it.
I
Definitely.
have time now, I'm retired.
Yeah, it's great being retired. Okay, reducing dairy. Minimize your consumption of dairy. And today, it's so much easier than maybe 20 years ago. They have all kinds of non-dairy milks available. You can find one that you like, whether it be almond, cashew, soy, oat milk, all kinds. And even I have in your recipe non-dairy cheese. We're having a cheesy broccoli soup. But you can even buy vegan cheese nowadays. There's so many options. But I prefer with the cheese making it myself because the stuff in the store is very processed. And then, yeah, lots of non-dairy products in the store and recipes you can find. We're living in a time where it is so available. Yeah, it's very available to be able to go plant-based. And I'll say this, especially in our setting here, we were told when the time came to give up animal products, God would make it available, recipes and things available to be able to do that in an easy way. And I believe we're at that time,
Amen.
and which is a wonderful blessing. Because the way animals are taken care of now is not the same as they were 100 years ago. I lived in Northwest Arkansas, chicken farms everywhere. And I tell you, if you went into those chicken plants and saw what they fed them, gave to them as medication, I think most people would become a vegetarian or a non-chicken eater right away, you know. And the whole animal industry, there are places where if you can find, you know, the wonderful animals being outside in nature and running and having space and all, that's ideal, not drugged up. But unfortunately, it's industry now. It's about money, profits, and health is something that you need to be responsible, making sure that you're getting good choices into you. All right, moving on. Talking about chickens, eliminating eggs. If you must eat eggs, no more than 3 per week. I remember my grandma telling me that years ago because of the cholesterol and other good reasons why not to. So how can we do this? Supplement a 1 egg breakfast with fruit or plant-based foods such as whole grain porridge. We had the apple casserole last night, or we had the scrambled tofu. That could be replaced when baking. You can use a 1/4 cup of applesauce, or a 1/4 cup of mashed potatoes, or a small banana, or 1 tablespoon of flaxseed meal, that's flax seeds grounded up, and 3 tablespoons of water, the flaxseed meal and the water together, and let it sit for 5 minutes. All of those are egg substitutes, depending on what your recipe is that you're working with, okay? It can be a substitute for eggs.
You can also boil a tablespoon of flaxseed in a cup of water.
Okay.
Bring that to a boil and add mix it.
So the video can hear. You can also take a tablespoon of whole flaxseed
Yep.
to a cup of water, bring it to a boil, 5 minutes,
Yep.
and you'll get that nice goo, kind of like a yolk. It'll get gooey, and that will help bind whatever you're making. And then they even have a product on the market, they've had it for a while, called Egg Replacer, and you can just buy that too. All right, those of you who are taking notes, you got what you needed off of that? If not, afterwards I can put it back on for you. Okay, then a daily dose of beans. Eating at least a 1/2 cup of cooked beans daily, and especially if you're diabetic, beans are your best friends, and green vegetables, very good for blood sugar. So ways that we can do it, keep a variety of beans in your pantry. Dried beans are cheapest. And how many of you are familiar with the Instapots? Do you all know Instapot?
I have one.
Oh, you have, yeah. That's one of my friends too, Instapot. So last night I talked about a crock pot. You saw that. Instapot is the same concept. It looks like a crock pot. You plug it in, but it's actually a pressure cooker. So I can cook like black beans, dried black beans, in 45 minutes. It's awesome. Cooks things quickly, and it's plugged in, and it's safer than the old-fashioned pressure cookers that you had on the stovetop, and it's easy to use. They cost about, those of you who have it, how much, about what, $50 to $70, would you say?
You soak them first though, right?
You don't have to.
Or you just wash them?
Wash them, put your water in, your bean in, you can do that in an Instapot. Now if you prefer soaking your beans ahead of time, because soaking your beans ahead and throwing out that water can help them be not so gassy, or adding a little bit of sage with your beans can help with the gas too. But what I love about the Instapot is it helps save you time. You can do so much so quick in an Instapot. So that's a neat kitchen gadget to have. So Instapot, cook beans quick or in a crock pot overnight. Hummus and other bean dips are a great way to get 1/2 cup of beans in. And then learn how to make one bean dish that you enjoy. Again, our veggie burgers that we're making today, it's on your recipe handout, the Mighty Max, it uses chickpeas. So it's a way to get those beans in. And you could always substitute a different bean. Okay, another principle we're going to look at is slashing the sugar. No more than 7 added teaspoons a day. So that's something like 7 added, let's see, I think, is it 4 teaspoons in a tablespoon, cooks? So then I would be having a little bit less than 2 tablespoons of sweetener, okay? Now we got to watch out for where that sweeteners are. We got to be label readers. So what's recommended is making honey your go-to sweetener. It's harder to spoon in and doesn't dissolve in cold liquids, so you tend to consume less of it more intentionally. That was their suggestion in National Geographic. Other sweetener options is maple syrup, agave. You could do the organic, like brown sugar. I don't like white sugar because it gets bleached and the way they process it. Avoid sugar-sweetened sodas, as we talked about, teas or fruit drinks. Water is the best beverage. Seltzer, if you need a little fizz or something, that's an option. I would say it's better than having a soda. Limit desserts or treats. Make it a once-a-week treat. Consider fruit your sweet treat. So those are some great suggestions there. Watch out for processed foods. Today, you're going to be having a ketchup that we made. And the reason why I like making my own ketchup is, have you ever read the label of a ketchup bottle? High fructose corn syrup. You know, and a whole bunch of other stuff that doesn't need to be in there. So you got to be label readers. Salad dressings, sauces, they can have hidden sugar. Watch out for low-fat products. Some low-fat yogurts contain more sugar per ounce than soft drinks. We got to be label readers. And then this principle, overall, go wholly whole. So I'm looking for whole grains, not using refined. I remember a friend of mine was going to be doing a health lecture. We were working at a health center in Virginia, and we had this wonderful doctor on staff, and my friend was going to do a lecture on label reading. And she said to Dr. Butler, are there any ingredients on labels that you and your wife particularly watch out for, that you give warning about? And he thought for a moment. He said, my wife and I don't eat anything that has a label on it.
Praise God.
Yeah. If you're buying your fruits, your veggies, you're cooking from scratch, you know, minimizing those processed foods, that's wonderful. Getting towards that as a goal is a good one. So, ways that we can do this: avoid factory-made foods, avoid food wrapped in plastic, avoid pre-made or ready-to-eat meals, shop for foods at local farmers markets. That's one thing I love about Massachusetts is the little farms where you can get produce, or community-supported farms. Try to eat at least 3 super blue foods daily, meaning the foods that we just spoke about. And oh no, the super blue foods are right here. Beans of all kinds, your greens. We need to get our greens in. So much good fiber, calcium, B vitamins. We need to make sure we're getting enough greens in our diet. Today you're going to have the Armenian lentil soup. I got such a kick out of that. We're in an Armenian church, and we're going to be eating Armenian lentil soup.
And they didn't want to come.
I know, and I wish they did, because I could ask them, is this really Armenian, or is this just an American spin on one of their dishes? But you'll notice in your recipe, in the soup is spinach. Again, you can get your greens in that way, like in your soups, in dips. We are going to be making kale this week, or some greens this week. I have a good friend from Jamaica, and I love the way they do their greens in the Caribbean. I'm going to be sharing her recipe. Sweet potatoes are also excellent. We're going to be having sweet potatoes on Sunday. A really good Australian dish that uses sweet potatoes, nuts, olive oil, extra virgin, ideally oats, slow cooked or Irish steer cooked, cut rather, barley. You can have them soups, hot cereal, ground in bread, your fruits, your herbal teas, turmeric as a seasoning or a tea. And that would be interesting, turmeric as a tea. I haven't tried that. But these are considered blue zone foods, meaning foods that our people in these different parts of the world eat regularly, and they see that this has been a good benefit to their diet. They believe this has helped contributed to longevity and good health. So getting these in. Now, what are the blue zone beverages? Water. Keeping a bottle of water at work and by your bed. And then trying these variety of herbal teas, such as rosemary. So they're actually using culinary herbs as a tea. Oregano, I know my friends from the Spanish world, they'll make oregano tea, like when you're getting sick. It's a great antiviral, antibacterial. We'll talk more about that on Sunday. Sage, sweetened tea slightly with honey. Keep it in a pitcher in the fridge in hot weather. Never bring soft drinks into your house. That's a good policy. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a video clip called Eating Blue Zone's Diet for 3 months, and you're going to see their experience. So just give me a moment, and I'm going to do like how we did yesterday and pop over to YouTube rather than trying to get it from my PowerPoint. That worked out better. Let's see. And while I'm getting there, does anyone have any questions or comments to fill up this time?
What about the fennel tops?
Ooh, you know, fennel's a good tea. That's a good one for like gas, or it's a nice tea. But fennel tops, it's a green. Italians use it. It's nice in tomato dishes. It's nice in salads. Fennel tops is really nice in salad. It has kind of like a little licorice flavor to it. When you cook it, it isn't so strong.
Yeah.
Eating Blue Zone for 3 months. Okay, here we go.
What would you suggest
Mm-hmm.
if you're at work and you're doing repetitive stuff and you're really bored, and instead of like munching on something, I know drinking water because that's what I
Yeah,
was doing
that's
today,
ideal.
but nothing else really?
Really, water's the best thing to snack on.
Yeah.
It really is. It's the best thing to snack on. If you feel like you have to have something, I would do something like celery. You know,
Yeah,
low,
celery
low.
or nuts or something.
Yeah, ideally more your celery, your cucumber. It digests quickly and it's
Okay.
lower in the calories, lower in the fat.
Yep.
Doris, you had a
So
question?
organic chips with nutritional yeast is not good. Blue chip, organic, gluten-free.
You know, it just depends. I like the idea of them being baked, you know, but, you know, diet is progressive.
Yeah.
Considering, say, someone was eating potato chips and they're asking that question you're asking now, I say, yeah, it's a whole lot better. So it's just depending where you're at and progressing what you're replacing and doing, you know. Okay, we're here with this video. Let me put it on. Oops, I turned off the volume.
Junior says he's found the recipe for how to reach a happy and healthy 100 years. 100 recipes to be exact, all written down during a 2-year journey through the Blue Zones, the places around the world where people seem to defy the limits of age.
Without heart disease, cancer, diabetes, or any of these diseases plaguing Americans. And this is what they ate. I sat in their kitchens. This is beyond a shadow of a doubt what people were eating to live to 100. You're seeing 500 years of wisdom concentrated into one bowl.
Those recipes, all in his new book, The Blue Zones Kitchen.
This is the traditional Korean diet.
But can eating the same meals here at home add years to our lives? We teamed up with Dan in Naples, Florida.
The secret sauce is blending them the way the Koreans do it. We showed them how to make some of the dishes, but more importantly, we helped them choose 3 or 4 other people, and all we did was challenge them to have at least 5 potluck dinners together where they cook from the book.
A 10-week challenge.
This is what centenarians really eat.
Involving about 100 volunteers. Everyone was split into groups called moais.
A moai is an idea of bringing 4 or 5 friends together. If you could put that in a pill, it'd be a pharmaceutical blockbuster. Because, you know, loneliness in this country shaves about 8 years off your life expectancy. In 1980, the average American had 3 good friends they can count on. We're now down to under 2. We're spending all of our time sucked into our little devices. We have to resume that connection. And if we can resume that connection around healthy food, we kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm 50 years old, armed with video cameras,
Chickpeas, olives, tomatoes,
Longevity stew.
and recipes from the Blue Zones. The Moais gathered and encouraged each other.
I mean, it's really good.
Your neighborhood or your community have to be on board eating the same way, otherwise it won't work.
Diets fail almost all the people, almost all the time. What seems to work in Blue Zones, not only knowing that a largely whole plant-filled diet is going to help you live long, and then you need to have a social network around this way of eating.
Wow. 3 months later, Dan returned to see the results, reuniting with 3 women who vowed to stick with that 10-week challenge: Jeanette, Joanne, and Lisa.
3 months ago,
It's a little painful for me to look at it, but look at that.
what happened?
I lost 12 pounds.
That's amazing.
Cholesterol down 22 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Starting to eat this way, she started to make other changes in her life. More physical activity. She's really set up, I think, for a long-term success.
I'm making black bean salad.
As for Jeanette, who says she used to feed her family fast food most nights before,
She really adopted it in a big way.
I lost 17 pounds.
17 pounds. Wow.
I did.
That's amazing. That's over a pound a week.
I feel happy. I feel energized. I'm out. I'm adventurous. I go places. I do things. I'm excited about it.
We don't allow any soda.
but the biggest change came from Joanne.
A lot's changed since I saw you 3 months ago.
Absolutely.
You lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, like 37 pounds.
Yeah. Not only did she lose the weight, her entire attitude and presentation changed.
We helped get her out of pain. We helped her look better, build her self-esteem, and then her well-being followed her.
I had to get rid of so many different clothes. That felt good.
What's your hope for this book? To spend all this time traveling all around the world to get it just right?
I have discovered something that I truly believe can improve the human condition. The secret to eating for longevity is to eat simple foods every day for years or decades, like people in the Blue Zones do.
Well, the women we talked to saw the most dramatic change. Everyone who stuck with the program for 3 months also reported weight loss. But I think the thing that's the most exciting anyway to me is that they all reported kind of emotional well-being went up.
Yeah, I love that. I love the emotional well-being. We talk about the cholesterol numbers, the blood pressure numbers, and all that stuff.
It makes a ton of sense.
I kind of want that book right
You
now.
are what you eat, right, Maria?
I've been eating a lot of that bean since we did this story. It's actually pretty easy to incorporate, and you kind of find yourself, eating lentils and brown rice and going, well, it's actually much better than you thought.
And Maria likes very simple foods, okay? She doesn't like anything fancy, so it's perfect.
Basically, whatever Maria's doing, we want to do too. You're our guru.
All right, you can find the book, The Blue Zones Kitchen. It's on today.com/shop. Tomorrow, Dan will be here in our kitchen. He's going to share some of those easy-to-make Blue Zone dishes. Very cool.
Try them.
Okay, very good. And on that note of making easy, tasty dishes, we're going to switch over to our cooking class. And again, I'm going to have Tika helping so she can go back, wash her hands, and get gloves on. My gloves are in the back. Okay. And while she's getting gloves, I'm going to talk to you about some foods that I'm not showing, but I'm going to talk about. Yes, Ron?
I have a question that I wasn't trying to get across earlier, but that's okay. We're moving along here. I have changed from honey in my tea to agave.
Yeah.
Is agave better or as equal in comparison?
There's different thoughts about agave. Agave for a diabetic is not supposed to raise your blood sugar, which is a good thing. But there's concern about agave having a high amount of fructose, I believe, in it, naturally. But there is concerns with it. I personally would say, you do your best. It's something I probably would, let me do a little bit more research. I'm kind of neutral on it. I know that agave is not, that there are some concerns about it, but I don't know if I'm that concerned about those small concerns. You had your hand up back there? Okay. Doris?
Yes. Is there food that can stop a person that's diabetic from being a diabetic? Now, my mother, my twin sister, a long time ago, she gave her dandelion and Jupiter. Let me see.
Okay.
Then,
I know where you're going.
okay.
And I have this conversation with my father all the time, who's a diabetic. The key to reversing diabetes is a good diet and exercise. There's not going to be one pill, supplement, whatever. It's a plant-based diet and exercise. That's key. Now there are foods like bitter cucumber that's very good, green vegetables very good, and beans very, very good. Ika was talking with me earlier about how she was able to reverse her diabetes on a good diet.
Talking about diabetes, I have diabetes about 20 years ago, type 2.
Yeah.
And praise the Lord, 10 years ago I got all medication, all of them, nothing to take. I take just one kind of, but I don't know to explain, supplement from a vitamin store, but if we can use the, I don't know the name, it's like a cucumber.
Yeah, that's the bitter cucumber, that's very good.
I take that.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing as what they call the bitter melon?
Oh, I mean bitter melon, thank you. I was saying that wrong, thanks Kim. Bitter melon, yeah, very good. Yeah, yeah.
Exercise, I do every day, 1 hour in the morning, and I do walk outside.
Yeah, diet and exercise is the
and
key.
Food, not too many pasta.
Yeah,
Not
that's
too many
the key.
potato. A lot of food. I like to eat a lot.
Yeah.
But I try to make my portion
small. Very good, very good. Okay, what we're going to do is jump in and we're going to talk about the cheesy broccoli soup on page 1. Wonderful soup. So we're getting a great green vegetable in. Broccoli, part of the carnivorous family, great for fighting cancer. And what Tika's going to go ahead and do is take these cashews I've already rinsed. I've washed them at home, and she's going to dump them in because I pre-measured them. I'm putting in a cup of the cashews. And then, now this is a key for this recipe. You see that it calls for 3.5 cups of water. Half of that amount I'm putting in the blender. The other half of that 3.5 cups I'm putting in with my broccoli. So in the blender, it's only going 1 cup and 3/4. Okay? And then 1 cup and 3/4 is going over here with my broccoli. Now with this recipe, I want to teach you guys a little shortcut. I made this recipe today, and I've made it before, but I forgot about it. What it's calling is for us to make this mixture with cashews of a cheese sauce, okay? And it's having you put it in with your broccoli and water on low. And you cook it until it thickens on low. And you can do that. But for me, I felt like I was in bondage again for an hour, keeping an eye on this soup. I'm like, this is for the birds. I am not doing this. So another tip for you, if you don't want to cook it on low and wait for it to thicken, what you can do is add some cornstarch to it, right?
How about arrowroot?
Or arrowroot, or tapioca flour, something to thicken it. So if you want to go down the quick way, what you would do is get your broccoli cooking on the stove, get it cooked good on a medium temperature, and add your thickening agent to your blender, whether that be tapioca, or not tapioca flour you could use, cornstarch you could use, arrowroot you could use. I don't like to use arrowroot so much in savory dishes because arrowroot can kind of have a roux factor to it.
Oh.
I like it in fruit sauces, but I tend to go towards, I'm just used to doing cornstarch and I buy the non-GMO. For the amount, and Tika, go ahead and start putting the seasonings in and I'll talk about it. I think I would start off with this amount of water, 3.5 cups. Those of you who are cooks, you can tell me if I'm wrong in this. I think I would do something like a quarter cup of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons to a quarter cup of cornstarch or tapioca flour or your arrowroot, and put that in the blender here. And over here again on the stove, you're heating up your broccoli in your water. Get it to a nice high, get it cooked nice. And if you have it almost to a boil, when you pour this mixture in, it'll cook up quick. Now, do you all have a question in the back? No?
I was just gonna say, I would go 1 tablespoon at a time.
You try one, you could do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't jump to a half a cup, I would just.
No, I'm not saying half a cup. If I didn't mean a half a cup, if I said that, a quarter cup I was saying.
Right.
But if you want, you could try a tablespoon and add, but if you were to add it, just make sure, you all may know this. When I was young, I did it. I plucked in cornstarch in something hot and never did that again because it doesn't mix up good. So if you're adding cornstarch, put it in some cold water first and pour it in, and you'll be glad you did that, okay? So what Tika's been doing while I've been talking away is she's going to put in 2.5 teaspoons of salt. She's putting in 2 teaspoons of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of dill weed, and to give it color and nice flavor, a 1/2 cup of pimientos. Now, I like using these roasted red bell peppers, Mizzetta. I like this brand. It has a nice flavor. You find it where they sell generally pickles and olives. You can use fresh red bell pepper if you want to. You can use pimentos, red pepper as well if you want to. I personally just like this Mizzetta brand.
Can I see that?
Yeah, you can do this. Oh, no, we're not doing that. Yeah, yeah, Mizzetta. Yeah, this is the brand, Mizzetta. Red bell pepper, really nice.
Oh, instead of pimentos.
Yeah, it gives a nice flavor. I like putting that in my cheese and for the camera. Corona was telling me, try to remember. So here it is. Vinny?
And Jackie wants to know, getting back to the cornstarch thickener, could you use almond flour for a thickener?
I've never done it. You could try it. I personally have never thickened with it. Now, your cashews, it's going to thicken naturally with your cashews if you cook it on low. My issue is, I generally like to be fast and quick in the kitchen. And yeah, nutritional yeast flakes are probably back there. So ladies, just add, okay, Carla's going to get some nutritional yeast flakes for us in the bag. And if it's not there, we'll skip it and we'll still live. Yeah, if it doesn't, yes, if you can get enough, not, we got enough men in here. Okay, good job. Okay, and we are doing, Tika, 1/2 cup of those red peppers. And so now, this is something else I wanted to tell you about. Now you can see my size broccoli. This is okay, but what I personally like to get is chopped up broccoli, where it's tiny. But I went to Market Basket and Shaw's, and they didn't have the tiny. When I'm saying tiny, it's like, you know, one of these little florets is chopped like 6 times, you know? Yeah. So it's, I like that personally. I help out at a restaurant, and a really nice plant-based restaurant. You can check them out on the website, the Beehive Cafe. And we serve a cheesy broccoli soup. And we use the chopped broccoli there. You can find it in West Virginia. I just had a hard time finding it in Massachusetts. Do you all know where we can find it in Massachusetts?
Hannaford.
Hannaford, right, okay.
Where's the Beehive Cafe?
West Virginia, Berkeley Springs. Great place to take a vacation, nice walking trails, biking trails, all natural springs, and a wonderful vegan restaurant run by Seventh-day Adventists, and they have a wonderful healthy lifestyle center across the street. So check it out. And go to their website, Beehive Cafe. You might find some pictures there of food, might find some recipes, some neat things. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and put the, yeah. Tika brought something up. I like putting my dill in last after I blend things, so that way I don't get the green color blended all in. So she's going to blend this, and the key is, of course, you want to blend it nice and smooth because no one wants to eat sandy soup, right? So we're going to blend it really good. We're using the this blender.
Is there cornstarch in there?
No.
I didn't bring cornstarch, so the kitchen gets to do the slow method tonight. You can ask them how much they like that. Oh, thank you, Corona. And again, the object lesson, plug into the power. To come up and get the blender, and they can carry on blending on the back while we carry on and blend up here. And I'm going to put this dill in your pocket, Carla, and you're going to be putting in a half a teaspoon, my dear friend. Thank you very much. All right. And could Melissa, would you mind getting the broccoli? And we're going to move right along to our Mighty Max. Someone look it up, please. What page is our Mighty Max on? Instead of having Big Max, it's Mighty Max.
On page 2.
Page 2. Yep. This recipe freezes well. It's great. Because it's going to make about 8-9 patties about yay big. All right, so for those of you who don't want to eat Mighty Max all week long, you can put it in the freezer and be easy to pull. You can also break it up and put it in a gravy, and I call that stroganoff. Really nice and easy. Now today, because we're having samples, I'm making minis of Mighty Max. Okay, and so very simple. What Tika is going to do, again, we've got the blender. Let me do this. What she's going to start off doing is using the quick oats, and I'll do this while you're doing that. And she's going to put in 2 cups of the quick oats in the bowl. Okay. So in her bowl is going to be the quick oats, and then I'm going to drain this. What I'm going to do with the chickpeas is I'm going to drain the juice into this cup, and I'm going to use some of this juice towards my water. It says 1.5 cups of water, right? So I'm getting what? A little bit under 1/2 cup in here. So we'll make the difference up in water. Okay, great, Tika. So then what she's going to do is she's going to put the chickpea and 1.5 cups, get it up to here, of water in the blender. And if you want, you can put your seasonings in the blender too. And so that way it will all mix up nicely in the oats. Now while she's working on that, I want to talk to you guys about, oh good, you brought extra gloves, good for you.
So, I mean, I love garlic and onion. Can you put garlic and onion in there?
Well, I'm going to show you guys about chopping an onion.
Okay.
What is, whole thing in the blender. What I love about this recipe, kind of like the granola I was talking to you about the other night, you can play with this recipe. And I'm going to talk about add-ins in a moment. I'm going to go over this recipe first, and then I'm going to talk about ways. I did a cooking school one time in Louisiana, New Orleans. Imagine doing a plant-based cooking class in New Orleans. Talk about intimidating. And I had a friend from Louisiana. I said, JJ, you got to help me. How am I going to do this? And go ahead and add your salt, your seasonings, your sage, and your chicken style seasoning is in here, but isn't measured out. Anyway, she helped me, and I'm going to talk to you about my New Orleans burger in a minute. But before I get there, what I want to do is talk to you about cutting an onion. Oh yeah, here you go, my dear. So she's putting a tablespoon of chicken style seasoning. We talked about that recipe last night. We used it in the scrambled tofu. What I want to show you all here, simple way of chopping an onion. Now I know there's many different ways to do it. Some of you might be familiar with this way. I like it. I'm cutting it in half from top to bottom, right? And then I'm cutting the top here, and that's going to help me take the skin off. I want to leave the bottom because it's going to help keep my onion together, okay? So I'm just taking off the skin now. And then, depending on the size, I want to go smaller chunks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice this to the side, slice it through, but I'm going to stop at the end because I don't want to chop off that end. Because like I said, it's going to help hold it together. And I'm going to chop a little bit more here. And again, there's nothing like a good sharp knife. Now, I got my thumb back here in the rear, my fingers up here. My knuckle is going to be a nice safeguard for me, okay? And I'm just going to go through, trying not to cut the glove. All right, so I'm going down, and then again, my thumb in the back. My fingers are, my knuckles are like a safeguard, or I'm going to hold it together like this. And then I'm chopping, and voila, I got nice slices. And again, I personally find this as a quicker way to do it. When it gets a little wobbly, I'll flip it down and get the bits right here and just work around the edge. That's the way I personally like to chop an onion. And I learned that from Jamie Oliver, a British celebrity chef, on one of his wonderful tutorials. And that's what I like to do. All right, how you doing over there? You ready to make some noise? Okay, let's get this back in. Again, these ninjas are great, and they have these wonderful safeguards that you gotta lock it in. Okay, are we plugged in? Nope. Okay, let's plug into the power.
You can use the extension right now.
Yeah, thank you. All right, go ahead and make some noise. Let's see, power. Oh.
Right.
Okay, wait a second. The red button is flashing. Maybe I don't have it locked in.
Yeah, locked in. The ninja. Yes, the ninja.
And the cover and the top.
Top. Okay.
Oh yeah, I got to do that circle.
Yeah, I know you got to have it in the right place, right?
Yeah, so the lift needs to be opposite of the handle.
Gotcha. The arrows are pointing to each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the good thing about this is it doesn't have to be super smooth, you know, not like the cheese sauce. And now we're just going to take this off. She's going to pour it in and stir it up. And then I'm going to, Joe's bringing me another set of gloves because I touched the cord. And we're finished chopping this onion. And then you're going to bake it in the oven. Spray your cookie sheet, 350 for about 45 minutes. Check it. I don't generally flip them over. You can if you want to. Thanks, Joe. Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's possible to change for length or for beans or for something.
Yeah, so like for my Louisiana, New Orleans recipe, my girlfriend said, Sherry, instead of doing chickpeas, why don't you do pinto beans? It would be a little bit more meaty. And then what I did was I took out the sage and the onion and I just put in hot sauce, salsa. And I like using the mild Herdez brand. It's not so spicy, and I like it because it doesn't use vinegar. I kind of stay away from vinegar because it's a stomach irritant.
Yeah,
for the fermented. So, sorry?
For the apple vinegar and sometimes recipes.
When it calls for vinegar or apple cider vinegar, I choose to use lemon juice.
Yeah.
Lemon juice, so it doesn't irritate my stomach.
Yeah.
So then, I put in the salsa. I do a whole can, a jar of the Herdez salsa mild, so that's probably like a good cup and a half. I don't use water. I use my salsa with my beans. I blend that up. And you can put a little bit of cayenne if you want to have a little bit of kick. You can do that. And I put in some smoked paprika because they like barbecue down there. So I put in some smoked paprika in it. And then just added it to my my oats and my walnuts. So you can play with it. If you want to add cilantro to it, you could do that. If you want to add cumin to it, this is a recipe. You got the basics as far as how much oats, bean, and then have fun with it. You want to add your fresh garlic, go ahead and do that. And I'm going to get this onion quick chopped up, chica. And then that burger's done. So instead of big backs, we got mighty macs. We're getting our oats in, which is great, and we're getting a bean in, which is wonderful.
But for no use the water for containers, this is good make from
I don't mind
onion soup with this because every time I don't use the water for the container.
Yeah, I don't mind doing it myself, especially if the beans are organic. I personally don't have a problem doing it, but you know, each to their own. You might have a good reason why you don't that I don't know about. But right now, I just dump it in. Okay, so she's going to stir that up, and then we're going to take it around so you guys can get an eyeball idea. You guys can see what's the texture, what the liquid looks like. And those in the back in the kitchen, if you want to come and start taking away my dirty dishes, it's nice. I cook and they clean. I wish we could keep this up always.
Yeah, right.
This is a great situation. All right, good. So let's take it. Do you mind taking it around and showing to them what it looks like?
Anything else?
I guess not quite yet, Benny, thank you. All right. While she's going around, I'm going to keep talking. I made ketchup. I mentioned to you ketchup can have all kinds of stuff in it that we don't need. And I personally, again, like to stay away from the vinegar because it irritates the stomach. So you're seeing your ketchup recipe, super simple. It's just tomato paste, equal amount of tomato paste to water. I'm using onion powder, garlic powder, basil, salt, lemon juice, and honey as a sweetener. You could use your agave if you want to do that. Stir it up, or if you want to do the maple syrup, go for it.
Do we have that recipe in here too?
You do.
All right.
Every recipe I show you this week is in there. All right. Now, lemons can be expensive and they can take time to squeeze. If you don't want to do that, Carla.
Are you done?
Everything. Yes, you can take that. And this here. Everything else can leave. What was I going to talk about? Minute Maid. I love this. All it is lemon juice, and it's been frozen. We got this at, I believe we got it at Market Basket. If we didn't get it at Market Basket, we got it at Shaw's. So it's just lemon juice in the frozen section. There's no preservatives, nothing else in it. So it has a nice flavor, and I don't have to squeeze a lemon and twist it. So that's a benefit. Carla, everything from here over can go. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is salad. We want to get a lot of fresh in our diet. That's always a good thing. And so we're going to make the sunseed dressing. I believe it's on your first page of your recipe handout. I worked at a lifestyle center. We had a restaurant, and this was our customer's favorite salad dressing. Super easy to do. It's using sunflower seeds. And Tika's going to go ahead and measure out the sunflower seeds. Is it like, what, a cup and a half? Yeah, 1 cup of sunflower seeds. And these sunflower seeds are high in zinc. Good for boosting the immune system. Men, it's good for your prostate. And in this pandemic time, boosting the immune system is always a good thing. Getting your pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. Super, super good. So she's putting in sunflower seeds, a cup, and then for water, she's doing a cup and a half. Yep. With this recipe, everything goes in the blender. Again, we're going to.
All.
Oh yeah, let's use it all. what was I going to say? Everything in the blender, but we put the dill in at the end. Everything here is ready to go. Thanks, Carla. So she's just going to put in the onion powder, the garlic powder. Onion powder is a half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. So equal amounts of onion and garlic powder. If you want to use your fresh garlic, you can go on and do that, but maybe just chop that or do according to taste. I wouldn't do onion fresh. I have found when I blend up onion, it can be a bit bitter. In the measuring spoon? Okay, so we're going to eyeball it. Which one you got to put in? Garlic powder, such a big thing. So we're going to eyeball this. And we said how much? A half a teaspoon of garlic powder?
Could you use dried minced onion?
You can. Go for it. Okay, right here. I'll use that lid. And then the key with this recipe is you want to blend it good. Because blending it good is not only making it smooth, way too much, it's going to thicken it. So if you have like a regular Osterizer, $40 type blender, you're going to be blending it for about close to 5 minutes. Vitamix, like this one, just like 2 to 3 minutes. And that's good. Okay, salt. And for salt, we're doing how much? 1 teaspoon of salt. And that's too much. Did you put the lemon juice in? Yeah, for the lemon juice, we haven't put it in yet, and I believe do less than, we did a 1/3 cup today for lunch, and Carla felt like it was too lemony. I felt like it was fine. So see where you're at. I'm going to do a little bit less lemon, and I'm going to combine with what we already made. So you could say, yeah, go for a 1/4. Do a 1/4. 1/4 to a 1/3. Again, play with what you enjoy. And then we're just going to blend it really, really good. And that's all there is to it. Good job, Tika. And then we're going to put our dill in at the end, and Carla took it away in her pocket because I gave it to her. And so we're going to just blend this up good, and just put this. I always like to start a Vitamix on low. Have you ever had that situation where you started on high by accident and the top wasn't on really good and it just, it happens. You don't want that to happen to you. Okay, there you go. Here. So I'm going to turn it on high. Getting this. I'm going to have the kitchen blend this up really good. And Joe, please tell him to add a teaspoon of dill.
The whole thing?
Yeah, take it all of it.
So when you add the dill, are you also blending it in?
I like to stir it in. If you blend it in, it can give it a little shade of green.
Yeah, okay.
If you're doing it for St. Patrick's Day, you can leave it. I like fresh dill. I really like fresh dill. If you can get that, that will add a nice flavor to it.
What is dill?
Sorry?
What is dill?
Dill is a culinary herb. Dill, like dill pickles. It's green. It's a culinary herb. You can get dill seed when it goes to seed the plant. You're going to try it in your salad dressing today. I don't know how more to explain it. Have you ever had a dill pickle before?
Oh yeah, I had dill pickle, but the one not talking about the pickle, I was talking about the dill.
The pickle tastes like dill. It's what seasons the pickle really nice. Besides,
okay, so the dill is a seasoning on its own.
Yep, it's a seasoning on its own.
Looking like asparagus.
Yeah, you could say that the top of it, yeah, a little bit,
like,
yep.
but it's not.
Another thing I want to talk about, and Tika, thank you for your help. Can we give her a round of applause? She's going to leave with the tray carefully. Thank you, my love, and just tell them to get this up here. Do that, good job. Last thing I'm going to talk about is, yeah, she's already on her way. Cashew mayonnaise, great mayo recipe. Cashew mayonnaise is in your recipe handout, and it's on page, let's see, someone finds it before I do. Say so.
Page 4.
Thank you. Page 4, cashew mayonnaise. I have cashew mayonnaise 1 because in the cookbook that we did at our health center, I had a bunch of different mayonnaises. This is my favorite one, personally. So when it says a 1/2 to 3/4 cup of water, I generally end up with that 3/4 cup of water.
Okay.
Again, my cashews are raw, they're rinsed. A tablespoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic, a teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, blended good. And that's all you need to know. Now, a way to stretch these condiments, like the ketchup, the mayo.
Yeah.
In our door prize that we are sharing, one of our prizes is a cookbook of These You May Freely Eat. And the author of it had a great suggestion, Joanne, I think her name is Anchor. Take out, because you know regular mayonnaise and ketchup will last you a very long time, but we have no preservatives in this, there's no vinegar in this, so it has a shorter shelf life, generally about 5 days. If you want to have it longer, take it out of the refrigerator, use it for what you need to use it for, and put it back in the fridge. Don't keep it on the table for the whole meal. And you can get maybe a day or 2 more out of it. So the concept is don't leave it out in room temperature for a long period of time. Just take it as you need it, put it back in the fridge. I have frozen it. We had a restaurant in our health center, and we would freeze our ketchups, our hummuses, and our mayos in like sample cups. If you wanted to freeze it, yeah, I think that'd probably be the easiest way to do it. And then just pull out the portion that you need. I just would stir it up with a fork when it's defrosted so the consistency's better.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions?
So can you make potato salad out of it?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
And I like to add fresh dill. I like to do potatoes, celery, olives, maybe some peppers. Yeah, you can make a nice potato salad. All right, and I just need someone to get this mayo. They'll need it in the blender. Thanks, Joe. And Tifa's not here tonight for our door prize to help me out.
Squishy, you mean, right?
Yeah, I mean squishy.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. All right, I'll get someone else to help me. Let me just grab the basket, grab the bag.
Well, if we don't leave here too late, then I'm gonna go visit my mom. Because she lives right down.
Okay. Roland, can you do me a favor? Pick a name.
I can't look, right?
We can't look. All right, who you got?
Now I can look.
Now you can look.
I can.
Yeah, she went last night, too.
You were next to me.
I can.
Ika, I'll give Ika. I can give this to you, and you pass it on to whoever you think might be good. It doesn't have to necessarily be here. It could be somewhere else.
offer to somebody else. Because I was doing her yesterday too.
Oh,
and
you
she
did?
gave me something today.
Oh.
And now I said, I give it to
Roland.
somebody.
Was that sticky? Very good, Roland. Here you go, my friends. Roland won the cookbook that I was talking about. Cashews May Freely Eat. So he can get you cooking, Roland.
I'm coming to your house, Roland.
That magazine you had over there?
Yeah.
Can you get me one? Or do you have one extra?
Let me think on that. You gonna come back Wednesday?
Wednesday I'm on a Zoom platform.
All right. Well, which would you rather, the cookbook or the magazine?
Huh?
Which would you rather, the cookbook or the magazine?
Well, which one's getting more information?
That has more information as far as nutrition and lifestyle. This has more recipes. So do you want to cook, or would you like to read and study and apply?
Oh.
Keep that one?
Yeah.
Go online, look up the, do you like to use computers?
Yes, he does.
Ah, then he can just Google it.
Yeah,
Friends,
Google.
you can tell him what to do. You can Google Blue Zones, get
Thank
the
you.
same info. Congratulations, good job. All right, let's stand up and do our coconut stretch. Joe, do you remember how to do the Joe? Oh, sorry. Do you remember how to do the coconut stretch?
I do.
Do you? Linda, can you come up and show them while I get my computer going? It'll save me time.
Okay.
All right, Linda's going to lead out in the coconut stretch. You guys all stand up.
All right, Linda, let's see it.
So she went this way, so
Yeah.
C, O, C, U, N, oh wait, C-O-C-N, N.
C-O-C-O.
O. Okay, so you did the O. Down here for the N and wiggle it.
Uh-huh.
And T.
You can do it one more time.
Oh, U, T. I'm sorry, I can't spell.
It's okay.
All right.
Do it one more time.
C. O. C. Co. O. N. U.
Good job. Thank you.
My aunt needed that.
Me too.
Can I see what that looks like? The book?
What I love about that cookbook is it has so many great recipes on one page. Carl, I need help, please. Thanks.
Which one?
Yes, in the jar.
I'd rather
The jar that Tika took back there.
Oh.
It's in the, or Joe took back.
So what food gives you magnesium?
I'll have to look that up. I do know, but I can't think of it right now. Too much on the brain. All right.
Her whole program on a CD. Yeah. Flash drive.
Okay, we're going to talk about principles to good digestion.
Geographic and then put it in the blue zone.
We could be eating wonderful food, but if our body's not absorbing it, processing it efficiently, we're missing out. So we're going to look at a few keys that's going to help us have good digestion. And then we'll have our food samples. So food is something I believe God has made us to enjoy. We have all kinds of flavors and colors and textures. And the reason why I know that He made us to enjoy, because look, He could have created food to taste like water, but there's flavor in it. Does anyone know how many taste buds we have on our humble little tongue? In our mouths? A lot. Yeah. Let's get some guesses. How many is a lot? How much do you think?
300?
Higher than 300.
Thousands.
Yeah, you're more in the right ballpark. In our little tongue, there is over 7,000. I think it might even be 9,000. Isn't that, we're fearfully and wonderfully, you think God made us to enjoy our food? Yeah. And then here on the diagram of the tongue, we have where we sense the different flavors, salty, sweet in the front, sour on the side, not so much in the middle. Towards the back, it's bitter. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Okay, now, many times we don't think about our food after we swallow it. We're thinking about the taste, but we're not thinking about what's going on with the rest of our digestive system. The purpose of the digestive system is to break down our foods so our body can absorb it and implement it in itself, to use it. So purpose of digestion is to digest, absorb, assimilate food. Having good digestion will help increase your energy, vitality, and help you recover from illness or an injury quicker. It is critical. There's so much information coming out about the gut now and the importance of good digestion. Let's talk about carbohydrate digestion. It begins where? In the mouth. So, number one principle that we're starting off with, if carbohydrate digestion begins in the mouth, what do you think is the first key to good digestion?
Chew your food well.
Chew your food well. You want to get your food where it's like a paste when you swallow it. And the reason being is you actually have digestive enzymes in your saliva. Amylase. It helps break down the carbohydrates. So you want to chew it well so the saliva gets mixed in and also your stomach doesn't have teeth. So we want to break down this food well so your stomach can deal with it. So first key is we're going to chew well. Rapid eating, wolfing down a meal, is a common cause of indigestion, stomach upset. I know at times I have to be conscientious of this, because when I'm in a rush, I could be like swallowing it down.
Yeah.
Not good. So a principle here, we used to do at our health center to encourage people, between each bite, each fork, each spoonful, put your fork, your eating utensil down and chew. Not keeping it in your hand where you're shoveling it in, but put it down, chew it to a pace, and move on. I remember my mom talking about one of her uncles or second cousins, must have been like a second cousin, or a great uncle, German, who was very methodical and whatever adjective you want to use, and he would chew his food consistently like 22 times. And as a child, she and my uncle would get a kick out of counting to see, and he was pretty precise about it. Now you don't have to go to that extreme, but again, the principle is get it to like a paste substance, chew your food well, okay? And placing down your eating utensil, that can help you with that. And actually, when you eat slower, you end up eating less. It's giving your stomach opportunity to catch up with your mouth and brain and saying, I've had enough. We don't need to be eating so much. So you actually eat less when you chew your food well. So a very good principle. Okay, and we're going to move on because of time. I will say it's important to make mealtime a happy time, a social time, not a time to be talking about things like the bills. I remember when I come home from college with my precious parents, it was like the time they would ask me life's challenging questions was at mealtime. It was like they had a captive audience. What are you going to do when you graduate?
Oh, no.
Do you have health insurance? Do you have a retirement plan yet? And it's like the stomach would turn and twist. And that's not the time to get into stressful conversations. Save that for another time. You'll actually digest your food better. You do well that way. So watch out for that. Okay, and a nice tip is going for a little stroll after you eat. Not vigorous exercise, but a nice casual walk, like maybe walking to your mailbox, something like that. It doesn't have to be long, but it actually helps your stomach digest. It's better to do a little walk than to sleep after you eat. Sleeping is like the worst thing you could be doing after you eat. Because your stomach, it's not going to digest as well. Even though it's definitely tempting. Have you guys ever slept, like say after a Sabbath lunch, you take a nap and you're like in a food coma, and it's hard to wake up, and when you wake up, it's kind of like groggy. Yeah. What can actually happen too is food can start fermenting as well. So better to go for a nice little walk after you eat, a nice little stroll. So, chew your food well, take time to eat, go for a light stroll after a meal, great things to do. Now, protein digestion takes place in the stomach. In the stomach, it breaks down food, absorbs fluid, and secretes acid. Keep that in mind as far as absorbing fluid. We're going to be talking about that more in a moment. Fat digestion taking place in your intestines. Small intestines act in both the chemical digestion, absorption of food substances. Large intestines absorbs remaining water and gets rid of the waste. And due to time, because we're running out of it, I'm just going to go through this quick. It's best to eat at the same time every day. Your body does well being on a regular schedule. I want to talk about this study. Very interesting study that was done with college students. They wanted to find out, what happens when someone snacks? Does it delay digestion when you snack? And very interesting what they found. So a group of college students, they fed them a breakfast like this. And they found that this breakfast left their stomachs in 4 hours and moved on into their intestines. Then, again, they fed another day, the college students, same breakfast, but 2 hours later, they gave them a peanut butter sandwich as a snack or a piece of pie and some milk. And what they found was, and that was as a snack, a couple hours later, their original breakfast was still in the stomach 6 to 9 hours later. Digestion was doubled, almost double the time. Delayed, almost double the time. Now, let's think about this. What happens when you keep something in a warm, dark, damp place for a prolonged period of time? It rots, ferments. Do we want that happening to our food? Because think about this. Your food is what your blood is made out of, which nourishes the whole system, goes throughout the body. You got those toxins, it's not a good thing. So we had a question the other night about what about these small meals eating throughout the day? The problem is you're delaying your digestion. Imagine this. You're throwing a load of laundry in your washing machine. You get it going. 15 minutes later, I think, I forgot my socks. So I throw my socks in and I put my machine at the beginning of the cycle. 20 minutes later, I forgot my towel. I throw my towel in. Beginning of the cycle. Your food has to be at a certain stage in order for it to move to the intestines, right? So if I keep adding new food in throughout, my body's like, can't let it go to the intestines yet. We got to get it at the same stage. So this is the delay, right? And if I'm eating one meal a day, which is like a cow grazing throughout the whole day, that's the problem. Cows can do it. They have 4 stomachs. We have 1. With the college students, they thought, well, I wonder if it's the size of the snack. So they just gave them 2 pieces of chocolate a few hours later after they ate the breakfast. And what they did was 2 hours after that first initial snack, they gave them 2 more pieces of chocolate. What happened to the original breakfast? 13 hours later, still in your stomach. Now, let's pretend I had some scrambled tofu that I made here. And the temperature in the room was 98.6 degrees, and I left it here for 13 hours. How many of you would want to eat it? No. You would be concerned about it being fermented and whatnot. Now, I know our body has hydrochloric acid and all kinds of other wonderful stuff God put in that we don't kill ourselves, but the point is fermentation can take place. So we want our food to get digested in efficient time out of the stomach, and the way we do that is not snack. Just drink water in between your meals, and you do well. And again, you're getting that intermittent fasting effect that we talked about before, giving your stomach a rest. So adding too much, fermentation can take place, feeling sick, sluggish, overeating. And again, we talked about this BDNF the other night, the brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And we discussed that at the beginning of the lecture. It's a protein thought of as a brain fertilizer. It can help develop new connections, repairing failing brain cells, protect healthy brain cells. Having enough DNF around can even protect our brain against neurodegenerative diseases that we don't want to get, like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So we talked about, again, how if we fast, have this intermittent fast, 12 even up to 17 hours, we get more of this wonderful BDNF. And so what we can do is not be eating late at night. Bottom line, that's going to help you with that. Prolonged daily fasting and overnight fasting reduce the risk of breast cancer, ladies, reoccurrence. That was from JAMA article on cancer they were talking about. So many good reasons, even with diabetics. I worked in a couple lifestyle centers, and with our diabetics, we put them on 2 meals a day, and they did well. It really helped those blood sugars come down. I know with my father, when he does 2 meals a day, he does really well. Good sized breakfast, good sized lunch around 2, 3 o'clock, that's it, and he's doing good. So this was a study done, I believe it was in Finland, Scandinavia, let me see. Anyways, it was done This is back in 2014, and what they found was they compared two groups of diabetics. One group they put on 2 meals, the other, I believe they were eating 6 small meals, same foods, same calories. The group on 2 meals, they lost weight and their blood sugar was better stabilized compared to those on 6 meals. Fascinating study. And, Prague, Czech Republic, it was done. So it was done with 27 people, same caloric diet spread over 2 or 6 meals. Those who ate 2 meals a day lost more weight than those who ate 6, and their blood sugars dropped. Experts say the studies support existing evidence that fewer, larger meals were the way forward. And that's just talking about the times that they ate and their weight losses. Yeah, and so they're saying their patients were afraid that they would get hungry, but they don't. I know when I worked at the health center, and the guests knew ahead of, well, they knew we were on a vegetarian diet. When I spoke to them orientation night about us eating 2 meals a day, they would have this scared look like I'm going to die. And I'd say, you know, if you want to have something in the evening, just let me know. And I worked there for 10 years, and I only had one person ask me for something in those whole 10 years. Because we're eating foods that are high in fiber, good nutrition, they're not missing it. It's important to get nutritious food. That's what's going to hold you over, especially that fiber. It's going to give you a feeling of fullness. Okay, so we want to eat breakfast like a king. Like lunch, we're going to be like a princess, so a good-sized meal. Dinner, we're eating like a pauper. And you'll actually lose weight this way. Instead of eating your big meal in the evening, reverse that and have it for breakfast. And you will do well. And your body will get that fat, the benefits of that intermittent fast in the evening. Benefits to eating a balanced breakfast. Studies have shown better cognitive performance, better scholastic scores, improved learning and memory, improved creativity. There was a link between breakfast and depression and skipping breakfast. And depression, 5,000 university students. Breakfast eaters have a more positive mood, perform better on spatial orientation tests, and felt calmer at the end of testing. Great benefits to eating breakfast. You don't want to skip it. All right. So something else I want to talk about is drinking water or drinking any liquid with your meal will delay digestion. It's best to get your liquids outside of your meals, especially water. Think about this. One of the purposes of the stomach is to absorb liquid, right? So the digestion can take place. If I'm drinking a lot with my meal, my stomach's going to have to take time to absorb that liquid. And then the digestion will take place. So it delays digestion. Also with your saliva, with your stomach acids, it's diluting it some. You do well to have your last bit of water a half an hour before you eat, or your liquid a half an hour before you eat, and then wait an hour after you eat. Your food's going to be broken down in a better state to receive that water.
You know, Sherry, one thing, I still remember when before I became a Seventh-day Adventist and went on a vegetarian diet, I stopped drinking with my meal right there at the beginning. So maybe that's why I still remember, because when I would drink with my meal, it would always help me to eat more. Drinking with your meal, with my meal, then I would be able to eat more.
You felt like you ate more with that.
Yeah.
We had a health guest come through who felt she thought she had serious food sensitivities, and at home she was on a very limited diet because she had problems with indigestion. She thought it was the foods that she was eating. Our dietitian encouraged her, eat what we have on at the program. Let's see how you do. She was amazed. She had no problem. And it was like, well, what's the difference? Found out she would drink 2 large glasses of liquid with her meal. Wow. And taking away that liquid, dramatic change with her digestion. So poor lady, she was restricting her diet when it wasn't the food that was the problem, it was her drinking so much liquid. So you see today, like with the soups that we make, they're more hearty, they're more thick, Now you can have some liquid. I've heard some say a rule of thumb, maybe about like 5 ounces or so, you know. So our bodies do better with solid, digestion rather, does better with solid foods. Excuse me, I meal. If someone's having stomach problems, if you're sick, one of the best things you can do is be eating toast or zwieback. Zwieback is dried out bread, and your body does well with that. Now there is a place for juice fasts. That can be good, and smoothies can be good, but not mixing the solid food I'm talking about with the liquid. Okay.
One question.
Yeah.
The soup is more water.
So you want to make it thicker?
Okay, it's
Right here.
because you know, he like it with a spoon.
I like it thick, she does.
Yeah.
And for me, the soup is water over there.
Yeah.
And this is the soup.
Yeah.
No.
As far as your body goes, your body does better when it's thicker compared to more liquidy. Our bodies do better. Yes.
You can drink something hot like tea with your meal.
It's best if you're going to drink just a little bit, because drinking a large amount isn't good. No. All right, looking at this picture here, what do you think would cause indigestion? What's wrong with this meal? Can you tell me? What do you think is the issue there? Okay, too much, so overeating, good. And you're kind of on the right path where I'm going. Is too much? Joe?
Too many varieties.
Too many varieties. Yeah, right. Potluck, yeah, liquid soup. Even like at one of those all-you-can-eat type buffet places. Our body does best when we eat 3 to 4 different varieties, not more. So what I'm talking about is like this, not ingredients, but dishes. So say I have a nice salad, rice, beans, vegetable, 4. That's what I'm talking about, okay? Like a 10-course meal, not so good. Have you had that experience yourself? You've gone through a fellowship dinner or one of those restaurants, did a bit of everything, and right, and then it's just like, right. So you do better choosing, all right, I'm going to get like 4 different types of food. And then next week, I'll try something different. I know it's hard when you're out, but as a general rule, your body does best on 3 to 4 different varieties. Okay, and we want to reduce our portions. We talked about that 80% principle. So you want to get away from the table where you don't feel stuffed. You could eat a little bit more, but you don't. And you're hungry for your next meal. And I'm moving kind of quick because time's going. So you want eat a high-fiber diet. It's good for us for many reasons. So causes of too much indigestion, causes of indigestion, too much food, too fast, too late, sick, exhausted, combinations, mental attitude. I'm going to touch on irritants really quick. So this was very fascinating, this article that was found in Healthy Living. They quoting and interviewing a doctor from India. He works in New Delhi. He's a gastroenterologist. What can you tell me about Indian food? Spicy. Right. I remember years ago, I don't know if it's still the same, that India, Korea, and Mexico were leading the world in stomach cancer. And what do they have in common? Spice. Hot and spicy food. So, quoting from this gastroenterologist, spices are added to our food to improve the taste. However, once they reach the digestive tract, they may cause irritation to the stomach's mucosal lining. It's very sensitive, like your eyeball is sensitive. Have you ever gotten spice in your eyeball? Like I've done it by accident with cayenne? Not good. Spices increase the acidic secretion and reduce the strength of gastritis mucosal barrier. Overindulgence of spicy food may cause various stomach ailments. The main reason behind these problems is the presence of high acidic content in spicy foods. Although spices provide a number of vitamins, and I remember doing this lecture once and having a precious Indian lady in the audience. She said, but there's such good vitamins and benefit to spice. And it's true, there is, but you got the side effect. And you got to figure, do you want that extra baggage? Or do I want to get that good nutrition that you might find in a spice somewhere else without the extra baggage? And nutrients that are present in abundance. Too much of these nutrients can be harmful to you. Following are, I'm going to go over ailments that can be caused by extra spice in everyday food. Acid reflux can be an issue. Acute gastritis, so that's inflammation there. Gastric ulcers. And insomnia. Interesting. Spicy food raises the body temperature, which may trigger insomnia. Thus, it's advisable to avoid spicy food at dinner. Now, we're going to close with things that you can do to help prevent acid reflux and heartburn. First, you want to avoid foods and beverages that can trigger reflux. So you've got this sphincter muscle, this muscle that's tight between your stomach and your esophagus. There are certain things that can loosen this muscle and cause food to come up to your esophagus, and you feel like that heartburn and that acid can get up there, and that can be a problem. Things that relax this muscle is alcohol, beverages containing caffeine, another good reason to cut the caffeine out, such as coffee, tea, and colas, carbonated beverages, citrus fruits. So if you have problems with acid reflux, you might want to stay away from citrus. Tomatoes and tomato sauce, chocolate, spicy, and fatty foods can relax this muscle. Now, I'm not saying not to eat citrus fruits or tomatoes to everyone, but for those of you who are dealing with the acid reflux, you might want to consider leaving it off and see how you do. Also, chocolate can loosen this muscle as well, so you want to watch out for that. Don't eat within 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Lying down with a full stomach can cause stomach contents to press hard against that sphincter muscle, increasing the chances of reflux food. If you're overweight, losing the extra pounds, obesity increases abdominal pressure, which can then push stomach contents up into the esophagus. Elevating your head can be helpful. I know a friend of mine who suffered with acid reflux, he would sleep in a recliner, and that helped him. And then make sure you don't have constricting things around your waist. Watch out for that, like belts, tight clothing, that can bother you as well. If you're smoking, there's so many good reasons to stop. This is one of them. Avoiding alcohol as well, cutting the alcohol out, this is another good reason why too. Now, this I've seen work very well. If someone's having problems with acid reflux and gastritis, taking 2 tablespoons, which is an ounce of aloe vera gel, aloe vera juice, and mix a teaspoon of slippery elm powder. You can find that in the health food store. You can order it online. Mix the 2 together and take it before you eat. Very good for acid reflux or gastritis. It's excellent. If you want, you can try the aloe on its own and see if that works for you, but I've seen the 2 combination do very, very well. Especially as you get older, your digestion juices, you're not producing them, it's not as strong. So it's common to get indigestion. This is something that can help you. As well as we're going to be looking at here, herbs and foods that are good for indigestion. Pineapple, really good. It has the bromelain in it that's like an anti-inflammatory, but plus pineapple and papaya have digestive enzymes that are good. That will help you. Aloe vera gel, again, peppermint, great for upset stomach. Take it in a tea. Chamomile as well, or manzanilla. Yeah. Fennel and catnip, all of those are great herbs you can make as a tea. Or you could take them in capsule form, and they can help settle the stomach, help with bloating, help with gas. We'll talk more about this again on Sunday. So, to sum up this presentation, principles for better digestion, we want to chew our food well, relaxed, happy atmosphere, eat like a king for breakfast, like a princess for lunch, and like a pauper for supper. Instead of snacking in between meals, drink water, take a walk after each meal, And watch out for stomach irritants and choose your food well, combinations and varieties. In Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 17, we're talking about Bible principles for good health. Here's a great one. It says, eat at proper time for strength and not for drunkenness. So here we've got eating at the right time, not snacking, not eating, eating a big breakfast, and then for strength and not for drunkenness. What does that mean? If I have a choice between eating a baked potato and eating French fries, which would be the choice of eating for strength? Baked potato. The French fries may taste nice, but it's not building up my body. So I'm choosing foods that are going to build up rather than tear down.
But you have to be careful what you put on your baked potato.
You got that right. Yeah. So making right choices. And on that note, let's have the blessing on the food. And let's see, so what we have on the table, and I'll explain it now why they get it uncovered and get it ready for you all. They have, so why they uncover the salad and uncover the food, Tika, Carla, Joel, thanks. So we're going to have a garden salad with the salad dressing on top, if you want to try that. And again, you can take this food home for tomorrow if you want. And then we have 2 soups, the broccoli cheese, and we have the lentil soup, and then we have the veggie burgers. And you'll see the mayonnaise and the ketchup you can put on. And I did talk about this. We have dessert tonight, and I didn't bring it out. We're having something called caramel popcorn. And the caramel popcorn is just simply peanut butter and molasses. Now, you do not want to use blackstrap molasses because it's too strong of a flavor. I use something called Grandma's molasses. Are you all familiar with Grandma's molasses? It comes in a yellow bottle.
Yeah.
I was going to bring the bottle to show you. Maybe I can bring it another time. It's just peanut butter and that molasses and a little bit of salt. I just heat up in a saucepan and I put it on popcorn, stir it up, dry it out in the oven on 200 for an hour. It's a 1/3 cup of molasses to a 1/4 cup of peanut butter and your salt. I forgot what the salt is. It's probably like about 1/4 of a teaspoon. It is definitely in your recipe book. So we're having that tonight as well. So why don't we have a blessing on the food and then we can go eat. Cam, would you mind having a little prayer for the food?
All right, sure. Father, we come before thee at this time, Lord, we thank thee that we could learn more about our diet and health at this time, Lord, and we thank thee for the food that has been prepared for us, Lord. We ask for thy blessings upon it, and that our minds may be on that which we have learned this evening, Lord, that we may eat properly and eat in the way that we should, Lord, remembering to chew our food slowly and everything else that was brought out tonight. And we thank you for the many blessings thou art pouring upon us at this time, Lord. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pam. All right, bon appetit. Enjoy the food. We have 2 lines going through.